Hi guys, today I want to talk about hospital emergencies, how to deal with them, the problems you're going to come up with that when you're ready to leave the hospital, what's going to happen when you leave the hospital, what are they going to say, what are they going to ask for? You know, when you go into a hospital, and here's one of the things that's going to happen usually, is when you get ready to leave that hospital and it comes time to pay, they're going to tell you to go up to the desk and make sure you pay and make sure you take care of everything before you leave, and they're going to bring you out there, and they usually take you out there to make sure you're not going to head out to a side door or anything. And this is just the policy of the hospitals, because a lot of hospitals, people probably take off through the side doors or whatever and take off or whatever. And what they do is they make sure they take you down there, and usually they have the guard around. And one of the hospitals that I went to around here, I noticed that whenever this is happening, they must alert the guards usually and tell them, hey, we're gonna take a guy down to pay right now, make sure you're around. And they're usually around when you're trying to pay the bill or whatever. Not always, but in most cases they are. But here's what happens. They ask you to pay, okay? And as some of you guys know from hearing from past experiences, in past vlogs that I've done, is that when I went to pay one time, they wouldn't take a credit card, they wouldn't take an ATM, and when I asked to go to the ATM, they wouldn't let me. So I was like, well, how am I going to pay if I can't go to the ATM? And I wanted to test it out a little bit. I was trying to, push my way of doing things just to see what would happen. I noticed the guard was all of a sudden kind of getting closer and stuff like that. And they wouldn't let me go. Okay, so my girlfriend offered to pay up. She was getting a little bit worried because she saw that I was getting a little bit, cantankerous. And I wanted to see what would happen because, I've heard this from other people too. I would say probably like 20 to 30% of the hospitals here either do not accept credit cards or ATM cards. They some of them will have ATMs inside the hospitals, some of them don't. But I would say 20 to 30% deal directly in cash or billing the insurance company itself. Now remember, when you go to a hospital, try to go to a hospital where they accept your insurance card, whether it be Pacific Cross or whatever. Some of them, like Pacific Cross, pays directly to the hospital. You just call them up immediately, let them know that you have a problem, and you're in the hospital. And what they do is they usually start dealing with the hospital right away, and they'll usually pay it. Make sure you always call your insurance company the second you hit that hospital, or the second you know you're going to that hospital for inpatient things, because some of these insurance companies will not pay if you do not call them right away. So make sure your girlfriend is aware of that. Here's the other thing. A lot of times, single guys, they don't have somebody to go out to the ATMs. A lot of guys travel freely throughout the Philippines, older guys, younger guys. They travel around. They don't have somebody that they can call in an emergency. So when they're in the hospital and something happens, they're screwed, because if they don't have money on them to pay the bill, then they're like stuck, and the hospital's not going to let them go. The only way that you can probably get around this is if you ask the hospital, say, hey, listen, I want to go down and get some money. If you won't let me go, will you let somebody go with me? Maybe the guard or somebody else. I just want to go down to the ATM. Is it okay if he goes with me, or maybe one of the people from whoever is your choice? If you want somebody to go with me, I'm just going to go down to the ATM. If you don't trust it, I'm going to go to the ATM. Send somebody with me. I'll go with them gladly. Just tell them that, and they'll probably let you go, because they want to get the money, number one. And number two, it's the only way you're going to get out of the hospital. And they'll hold you. They'll hold you in some cases at some of these hospitals, even though it's illegal. If you were in a ward or semi-private room, by law, they cannot hold you. If you were in a private room and you overextended yourself, it doesn't say that they can hold you, but it doesn't say much about it in the law if you read the law. And I've read the law. The law is kind of funky the way it's written. It doesn't really explain how to handle it, but it does say if you're in a ward or semi-private, that the hospital cannot hold you by law. And you can look that law up. I forget what it's called. I read that like about 3 or 4 years ago, and I believe the law hasn't changed since then. So just be aware of hospital rules and hospital regulations and laws in this country and stuff, and make sure you have Number one, insurance. And if you don't have insurance, make sure you have money readily available, because let's say your bill's $10,000 or $20,000 US, I'm talking about. Uh, that'd be like almost a million pesos or what have you. A million pesos is like somewhere around $20,000 or somewhere around there. And let's say you have a bill like that. How do you pay it? Make sure the hospitals that you're dealing with accept credit cards, ATMs, your insurance, and make sure you have some emergency cash sitting around your house, per se, somewhere in the house where nobody can steal it or touch it or whatever, or have it in a safe deposit box or a safe or what have you, or a hidden place in the house or whatever. It's pretty easy to hide money. Let's face it, it's pretty easy to hide some money. And I tell people sometimes maybe have 4 or 5 thousand around the house. Make sure you got credit cards. Make sure you have your ATM. Make sure you have your emergency money readily available. And most of all, make sure that you have somebody that you trust, so that if you're incapacitated and you can't talk, you have a heart attack or a stroke or something, that person knows your PIN number to get into your account so that they can go take out some money for you if need be. That's key. That's important. You don't want to be stuck in a hospital and the hospital won't work on you. Let's say you're in a room and the hospital comes up and says, hey, listen, you already ran up a $10,000 bill. We need something to keep on going here. You need to pay off that portion of the bill or whatever. And you're stuck there in bed. You can't speak. Who's going to take care of you? Who's going to cover that? You have to make sure that you're safe. A lot of guys don't plan for that when they come to the Philippines. And that's bad. It's really bad. It's lack of planning. And things like this happen all the time because we see it all the time. We hear about it on different vlogs and stuff like that. I've seen it myself firsthand. I've had it happen to me firsthand where they're asking me for money and they won't let me go to the ATM. And me, I'm a planner, and it happened to me. So now I learned from that mistake. I've learned to have money around me and available and stuff like that, or let my girlfriend know things and she knows where to get that information. So guys, plan, be safe, and be ready. When you go to the hospital, make sure you take your insurance policy with you. Take a copy of it. I have a chair here, and the top comes off. And in that chair, I don't keep anything really important in there, just those papers. And I tell my girlfriend, if I ever go to the hospital, grab those papers, and she carries my insurance card with her, so that at least we have that, so that I know I'm gonna get covered. And then we're gonna run off to the nearest hospital that covers that is covered by that insurance policy that I have. And I have Pacific Cross. And if you have another plan, and there's other plans out there that will cover you, but you have to call the insurance company right away. And some of these places have 24-hour numbers that you can call. And some of them are American numbers or whatever. So you want to make sure you have enough data on your phone, or have emergency cards, where you can, the load cards to put on your phone, have it in your wallet. Always buy new ones. Go through those things, so you have these things ready. These are things that are important in the Philippines. You also you'd probably want to have, like I have, Magic app, which is Magic Jack. So you can call home to your family, let them know you're sick, let them know you're in the hospital. Have your girlfriend have access to your phone so she can make phone calls to your family back home. I know a lot of people say, well, Steve, that sounds like a lot of planning. There's a lot of planning in going into, all this stuff about going into the Philippines. Yes, there is, exactly. And these are things that you have to consider. And a lot of people, it's almost overwhelming for some people that have anxiety or whatever to come over here, because there's so much planning that goes into this. It's not easy. And a lot of guys think that they're too healthy to go into the hospital. Guess what? You're not. You're not too healthy to, we have guys that come here, even myself. I thought I was a very healthy person. I had something come happen to me that was, I was foodborne illness. I got sick really bad. Fortunately, it didn't cost that much. Fortunately, my girlfriend had some money in her wallet that she could pay that bill. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have did, because at the time, I didn't have time to think about it, and I wasn't feeling well enough to be really thinking about all the stuff that the hospital was throwing upon me. Hey, we're not going to let you go down to the ATM. Well, you know what? I want to go to the ATM. And What if I don't want to give my ATM number to the girl that I'm currently with, which my girlfriend I trust, but I just wanted to go down there myself to pull it out. But some of you guys, you might be dating a girl at the time, and that girl might be with you. Do you trust that girl enough to go down with your ATM card? She might not return. And that has happened before too around here. Things happen like that. You know, things happen in the Philippines that usually don't happen in the US. I'm not saying that the girls aren't trustworthy here. For the majority of them are, but on occasion there are those girls that you just can't trust. And you have to make sure that the girl that you have is trustworthy enough that you would trust her to have those PIN codes, and that she's going to grab the policy, she's going to carry your card, or you carry that card, but you might be out of commission. But at least you can go through your wallet or find it if you have it in there, or the hospital can. Make sure you have duplicates of that card. Maybe have it one laminated, make a duplicate. Have a copy of that, cut it out and get it laminated. Do things like that. It's always planning in advance for these things, because these things happen all the time. So be ready, guys. God bless, guys.